All right, all right. We are back in Belmar today, and we have a special guest whose business has been in business for over 50 years, which is such a compliment to great work and hard work and valuing their customers. We have Gina from Mattia Builders today. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Thanks
Excellent.
for having me.
You got it. Thanks for coming in, and you guys do a great job out there. I've seen you from just traveling in La Valette area, and but you know I know that you have your main business is now with your buildings in Toms River, but you've been servicing the whole Ocean County.
The Barrier since the early 1970s. My father started our company.
So your father started your company. Is he still involved in the
Yes, every day. Every day he works every day. He's the hardest working man you'll ever meet.
He's got that old Italian mentality.
Yes, he's a hard worker.
So now you have 3 generations working.
Yes, so my father started the company. I've been with him probably about 30 years.
Wow.
And now I have 2 children. My daughter Olivia graduated college a few years ago, and
she works full-time for you?
she works full-time for us. She started working out for an engineering firm. She thought she was going a completely different direction, but it's in her blood. She's great. Our homeowners love her. So now she's with us full-time. And my son is a carpenter.
Awesome.
He's been with us several years. He's great. He's a hard worker. All those years of sports, I thought he was going to do something different too, but it's in their blood.
It's great though. So now let me ask you: a family business with 3 generations. Do you get is it just like easy going, or do you have them working?
It's intense. Everybody works.
Everybody works.
Everybody works all the time.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
No.
I love it. So now, what's the great project that you guys like to do?
We love to build new homes. I started doing this with my dad because I remember being, a little kid, and I remember there was like a hurricane, and he took me to a job because he was so worried about his job, that everything was okay. And he took me, it was actually in Silverton, and it was an addition he was doing at the time. And I was like, wow, my dad is part of everybody's home. Like you could do anything, but your home is your home, right?
Sure.
So I always loved it. So that's what's always been special to me about it, is that it's your home. It's where your family is. Primarily, we build second homes, beach homes. And what's nice about that is people could do a lot of different things in their life. You may downsize, you may move, you may change communities, but your beach house is kind of always the heart of the family and extended generations. So we love being part of that.
And that's such a great kind of, that's like when people build a second home or a beach home, it's all those kind of special things that for the family.
It is.
And again, and a lot of times it's a couple generations that are spending time in that home. So you can make those little extras and those little special things.
Are the only times they get together as a whole, and it means a lot to us.
So your father starts 50-something years ago. Kind of go into that. So he's living probably not on the Jersey Shore.
No, we were from Belleville, up North Jersey, and he had me and my mom, and he had, his father had been an electrical contractor, so he was in that, industry.
So he was in the construction
Yeah, he was
trades,
in construction.
knew what he was kind of doing.
But, things were changing. My grandfather passed away, and like I said, I was a baby, and he took us down here. He bought some land, him and a friend. They're still great friends to this day.
That's great.
And they built, a house, and it worked out, and they sold it. And so they went back to the bank, and they, were able to do it again. And what was really cool is one of those very first houses, years later, we were in our office in La Valette, and somebody came in for a new home. It was her and her sister. And she said, I don't think you remember me. She said, I bought that first house in Toms River that you built down here. And they came back to him all those years later when it was time for a summer home. And they were still living in that ranch that he built.
Wow.
So,
but that says something about his
amazing.
Craftsmanship.
Yes.
Because if they came back as his first house, he's only gotten better as time has gone on.
Yeah.
But if his first house was good and was well put together, that they came back years later, that really says something about
and we've had that many times. We had another family, we did an addition for them. She had small children. We became very close to them, through the process. It's a relationship. Building a home is building a relationship. You stay close with these people for a long time. And years later...
Well, the ones that you like.
Yeah, well, yeah. Years later, she came back to us. Sandy had happened, and we rebuilt her home. And she just sent me a text the other day. She says, "Do you believe it's 10 years? And I have all these grandchildren now, and I'm in my home 10 years already." And
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's a great feeling.
That's
We really
such
feel part of it.
satisfaction.
Yes.
You're part of, like,
Yes.
you know, you built them that home that they live in and that they're making memories in and having great time. So, all right, so now he's building homes, and he's building, selling.
We usually build for people on their land.
Yep.
So
No, I'm saying when he first started.
Oh yeah,
Oh, so,
yeah.
So at the beginning, he was building,
that.
selling, and so he put in like essentially like a spec house, right?
Yeah, that was like in the 70s.
And now, as time has progressed and time has gone on, now you're building for a homeowner who has land.
Yes.
Or is knocking a home down.
Or knocking a home down. A lot of it's bungalows or beach homes that were in a family, and they've gotten bigger. The families have grown,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we now have elevators in homes and central air conditioning,
Dumbwaiters.
and yeah, like all these things that they didn't have in the bungalows.
Yeah, sure.
So now we knock them down and we rebuild them.
Perfect. And so now you've been in the business for 30 years. Like what? And so you walk into the business like you don't know how to build a home and you don't know where all the things that are going on.
Right.
So over time, now what is where do you come into play in this construction process?
So I come in right at the beginning.
Okay.
I'm the first person you'll talk to, and I explain that process to you. What it takes from the land use perspective, what you're allowed to do on your land, from the municipal ordinances, right through to how we're going to get you in the door when it's time to move your furniture in.
Okay.
And that's what I
And
do.
you make that process smooth and easy for them.
Yes, we try.
Perfect.
We try, yes.
Now, from what I've heard, you guys use a lot of the same guys you've been using for years.
Yes.
So that's a sign of a good builder, because a lot of builders have a bad reputation, and that a lot of have to move and switch switch subs along the way because they don't do the right thing for these guys.
Yeah, no, we're very loyal to our subs. We're very lucky. Our plumbers, our electricians, our drywall guys are all guys who have been with us 20 years and better at average. Our project manager has been with my father since he started working at like 16, 17 years old. He's still with us.
Same project
Yes,
manager.
Jim is still with us. And everybody's hands-on every
Who's
day.
going to retire first, your dad or Jim?
Probably Jim. Yeah, probably. Yeah, my dad won't retire.
Your dad likes to be in the thick
Loves
of it,
it.
huh?
Yeah, loves
And now,
it.
what does he do on the day to day?
Administrative. He goes to the jobs every day. He oversees
He's
everyone.
one of those guys
yes,
that
he's still there.
drives in the morning. He's probably in early
Yes,
too.
we try to beat him.
Does it work?
No.
Those guys are set. Those guys are set
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
different clock. Those
Yeah,
older
just
guys.
exactly, a
they're
total
just not
different
built,
clock.
They're built differently.
Yes.
They don't. No matter what, they want to be there first. We have a guy in our office who likes to be there first.
Yeah,
That's
good.
But it's just the way it
But
is.
it's their ethic.
Yeah.
It's how you get things done.
And everybody's got a different way, and I applaud the hard work that get in early, get it done. I find the first hour or two of the day you get so much more done.
You get more done. Yeah.
You get more
It's
done in
most
that first
productive.
hour or two when no one's there because there's no distraction. No
Exactly.
one coming in your office asking you a question and doing whatever.
Yeah, the cell phones haven't started yet. It's
People still having their
that's the time.
breakfast and waking up and looking at Facebook, right?
Yeah, they're we're already at it. Yeah, and it's he treats people well, and that's the biggest thing that anybody in business, treat your clients well. Treat your workers well. Treat the guys who we have, like I said, our plumbers, for example. My son I was literally carrying my son, and he's now working with them.
Yep.
It's amazing.
That's so cool.
It's a great relationship. Yeah, and
What made the kids want to get into the business? So to get that third generation in there.
I ask myself that every day. I don't know. I'm like, why do you guys want to do this? But they love it. I guess we set a good example. They know we're proud of what we do, and they're proud of what we do.
I mean, and I think the sign of a good business too is having your name on it.
Yes.
Again, I have Wingman, but
Yeah.
and that's a cool name, but it's not Tom Mirabella. But to have your name on the business is
means a
something
lot.
to say. That means that you value and take pride in what you guys
Mm-hmm.
do. Because again, if you wanted to hide behind a different name, it would be very
It's easy to do. It's easy to do. My father lives in a community that we've built probably at least a dozen homes.
Okay.
And he's right out there, right on the same block as homes he's built. And people say, "Wow, you want to live where you?" And he says, "Yeah, I
Means he takes
can.
pride
I
in
can
what
walk
he
to
does.
my mailbox and
Not get shot
and,
at.
yeah,
Get hit with a hammer.
Yes, yeah. We always have. So it means a lot.
That's great. And so now, where do you see the company going? Where do you see construction going? I mean, things are changing every day, and there's so much new technology.
Yes.
So like with the houses, they're not just a good house isn't just a house that's built well. Now there's so many technological pieces of the home.
Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more energy considerations now. A lot more considerations to the, even to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
People are putting things in homes that you never dreamed you would put in your house. If you ever told somebody you were going to have an elevator in your house 20 years ago,
that would
they
be
would be like unheard of.
Yeah.
Right? And even, when he started down here, if he was planning a home, he would say, do you want central air conditioning? They say, no, there's a breeze. That's why we're down here. But the things that we're putting in now are amazing. But I see it. I also see people simplifying. A lot of people have already had some of the bells and whistles, and they're looking for good construction. They're looking for low maintenance. They're looking for longevity. They're looking for styles that are going to stay consistent. They're looking for, classic. And, that means a lot too. So.
And now what do you think about the size of the houses? Are they going to stay big, or are people starting to think?
Some people are everybody needed a 4,000 square foot house a few years ago. Now people are like, I want something that's manageable. I want something
It's a lot of square footage. It's a lot. And again, as you get older, you want to do less. Like you don't.
Yeah, you want to do less, right? You don't want to
as
do as much.
Like wear and tear, and there's not like cleaning and doing.
I find people want, they want a place for their children and their grandchildren to come, but they're not going crazy anymore. They're sticking in a, they're still big homes. 2,500, 3,000 square feet is still a nice big home.
Compared to those
compared
bungalows
to the
you were
bungalow.
talking about in 1970.
Yes.
Those 1,200 square footers that fit the same amount of people as the 25 degrees.
Exactly.
That's funny.
But people, I think their practicality is coming out a little bit more right now than it was, 5-6 years ago.
And with the crazy interest rates of this past, year or two, kind of how has that impacted the people that are buying, or are those people just not really as affected because of
they're a
it's
little
second
bit
home?
Insulated because it's a second home. Some people are making what was the second home their primary home, so they've sold their primary, maybe in North Jersey or another location, and they're
making the Jersey Shore home. But you
full-time
see
home.
more. I think you see more like year-round people. Like when
Yes.
I've only been on the Jersey Shore 15 years. But like when I first got here, the winters were very quiet.
Yeah.
Now, like in Belmar, where we are, the winters are not that quiet.
It's not that
like,
quiet.
You see, it's less traffic than on a busy sunny day. But it's not like.
It's not desolate like it
Yeah.
used to be.
Is that how same for Lavalette?
Same thing with
Mariana?
Lavalette. It used to be, maybe you'd see a light on every, so many houses. But now there's a lot of activity. And I think a lot of what we do too, people are able to use the home year round now. They don't winterize them like they did in the past. We have fireplaces and we have, all our smart thermostats and things that they can make
That's pretty
comfortable
cool.
before they
Yeah.
get there. Yeah,
That's pretty cool how much you could do on your phone now.
It's great. Yeah.
Opening your garage door, do
Yeah.
the heating. I can unlock my building in Manasquan. Last night, someone needed to get into my office in Manasquan, and
Yeah.
I was here, and he's like, "What do we do?" I hit a button. I was like, "You're in."
And you're in, and it's
pretty,
easy.
It's pretty cool.
Right.
Like, I love the technology part of
It's
that.
awesome. And because of that, I feel more businesses are able to stay open in these communities. And, it's more year round than it ever was. It's nice.
Yeah, that's great. And now, from a community standpoint, how are you guys? You guys are a good community guys. So, what are some of the things that you kind of get yourselves involved with in Lavalette and Toms River and things
We
like
like
that?
to participate in whatever, it's hard. You get everybody who calls and they, they're having a gift auction or
Yeah.
that. Sometimes we can't do it, we
Everything.
get a roof, right? So we do what we can. We try to donate through other businesses. We'll buy like gift cards to another business. And
That's nice.
we try, we're going to be participating in Lavalette Founders Day this year again.
Okay.
We do as much as we can.
Yep.
We like to be good neighbors. We like to, help out in the community too. Sometimes I get homeowners that have been there. Maybe we built their house, 8-10 years ago, and they'll say, "Hey, they're older now. Can you give us a hand? We just really need to move some patio furniture." So we do whatever we can.
send the guys
we
over?
send some guys
Yep.
over and we try and help
That's
out.
great,
So we just
though.
try to be
Yeah.
good neighbors. We try to, donate where we can.
Yep.
Yeah,
And so going forward, the kids are going to plan on staying in the business.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this is going to get passed on to generations.
Yeah, and
the
and
plan.
they're hard workers. I have to say, I'm really proud that they are hard workers. They're there every day. My son's the first one to open that shop door every morning. It's great. It's a good feeling.
So you instilled the work ethic in
Yes.
these guys.
They've learned.
But I think they learned by example. They
Yeah.
learn by seeing you. They learn by seeing their their grandfather to be able to see. And again, it's proud to see up, when you drive down the street, we built that house, we did the addition there, and a lot of your work is probably referral work.
It is a lot within families, within neighbors. You're at a job, you're there sometimes 7 to 10 months. People see you day in and day out. We recently are doing a job in Seaside Park. On the bay, and it's a home that was built in the late 1800s, and we lifted it, we moved it. In order to lift it, you had to put it on a new foundation, so it had to be moved to a different part of the property, and it really was a labor of love. Even on the
when you move it, where do you...
This piece of property was big enough we were able to lift it and move it to the back of the property where it stayed on cribbing temporarily, and then it came back onto its new foundation. And even for the homeowner, it was totally a labor of love. An old home like that, every time you touch something, something else reacts. And my son in particular has been on this job every day since probably September. And we restored and kept the integrity of as much of the home as we could. And the nicest thing about the project, in addition to that, the community is so happy that somebody kept a home rather than knocked it down.
And built a new.
I have been told so many times how courteous our guys were, how kind they were, how clean they were, and it's a good feeling.
That is
really
a great feeling to know that your guys that are doing the right thing and people notice, and that they take care of the community. Like that. To me, I hate when there's sloppy work and the dumpsters overflowing. And, again, I know when we did some work recently at my house, we had a dumpster there, and I said to the guys, when they were doing the work, I said, listen, respect the neighbors, because if you're gonna. Again, I have to live. When you leave, I have to live.
You still have to live there.
And I know when we were at before we moved to where I currently live, we had a guy who was building a home on an open plot, and they were terrible, and the dumpster was always overflowing, and the town was coming by, and no one wants to live like that. No. Especially we were on a cul-de-sac, so there's 6 neighbors, and when you do that, everybody's affected.
Yeah, even parking, and so you have to be courteous.
I think that's awesome that you guys have that mentality and that service oriented. But again, you're not in business for over 50 years by not doing those kind of things.
You want to do the right thing. You're there because you want to do the right thing. Things come up, things happen. You have to handle them, but you're there to do the right thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love what you're doing. I love to see a business for over 50 years. I don't know that I can say we've had anybody on who's hit that milestone.
That long, yeah, it's great. We try to stop counting sometimes. Makes us feel old, but I guess that's a good thing, right?
I think saying the number.
It's great.
I would on my website. I'd change the year every year.
Every year,
just to kind of feel good about that. Every January 1st, I have a little formula in there to
update it, right?
Yep.
It is. It's a good thing. So, and I hope other people say, do the right thing in business so they could stay in business that long.
I was talking to someone on a podcast recently, and they were in business 21 years. And I had read a stat, because Wingman's been in business 15 years this past year. So I had said a stat to my staff that said 75% of businesses don't make it 15 years. And then when I was reading the same stat, it said at 20 years, 80% of businesses don't make it. So I had said to this guy the other day, only 20% of people make it 20 years. I don't know what the stat is for over 50, but it's got to be, it's minimal. Yeah. But again, and again, in generational, and a lot of people say the second generation doesn't hold on to it as tight as the first one did, because the first one is the one who built it. But it sounds like your father has instilled in you all those core values that it seems like you're holding on to it just as tight.
It means a lot to us. The business is a member of the family, really, at this point.
100% agree with that. That's awesome. I love it. Well, it was great to have you on today.
I'm
glad that we got to chat. I want you to tell the visitors where they can find you, your website, social, things like that. So if they want to have a discussion with you, they want to network with you, they want to connect with you, how do they do that?
So we have a website, MattiaBuilders.com. There's a contact form on there. I could always be reached at our office phone number. It's been the same, 732-830-5131. We're on Instagram, Mattia Builders. I think if you just search Mattia Builders, I don't know the exact. My daughter handles that.
I don't think you have a lot of people competing with Mattia Builders.
Yeah, it's on there.
I think we're good. All right, cool.
Yeah, so
this was great. Thank you again for coming on, and I look forward to hearing more great things from you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You bet.